The next installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is here. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. By the way, I'm probably going to keep this review as spoiler-free as possible, just a heads up. Even though all Marvel movies in some capacity are really successful, their sequels don't usually turn out the greatest. You know, like Thor the Dark World, Iron Man 2, Avengers Age of Ultron. They're all kind of underwhelming compared to their predecessor. So is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 going to be one of the better sequels? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 pretty much just continues Peter Quill, Gamora, Drax, Rocket, and Groot's story throughout the galaxy, attempting to work together as a team, but they also try to unravel the truth of Peter Quill's father. Of course, just like the last movie, you're going to get, your usuals, your space battles, your on-the-ground battles, and the witty quips and dialogue between the characters, which is what made the first Guardians movie so great. A lot of the types of action in this movie are kind of more of the same as the last movie, but that's not really a bad thing. I mean, the action in the last movie was great. It's not really, over the top. It's not, you're not going to be disappointed. Like in any comic book sequel, you have to bring in the new characters from the comic books, and overall, I liked all the additions in the movie. Mantis, although weird in some scenes, by the end of the movie, she's actually a pretty good character. Even Kurt Russell as Ego the Living Planet was a really solid choice, I think anyways. They also do explain the whole how is he a planet and a person thing that everybody was worried about, so don't worry about it. Even Elizabeth Debicki was fine, even though she was doing her best impression of an Academy Award. I'm sorry, okay? That's all I could think about anytime her or her people were on screen, that they looked alike. In case anyone thought I was being crazy, I thought I'd do a side-by-side of the two. So yeah. None of the new characters really steal the spotlight from any of the Guardians characters, just because that cast is just so great. You can just tell that the whole cast has really good chemistry with each other, and James Gunn's writing for the movie, perfectly complements them just because they're so, in tune with each other. Don't get me wrong, there are, a good amount of forced kind of humor in jokes and all that, but for the most part, most of the jokes actually are pretty genuinely funny in the movie. Oh, and once again, killer soundtrack. I mean, what else is there? In both movies, they just put together some of the best, nostalgic music you can put together in a movie, and it just works so well. So yeah, kudos once again to the soundtrack, because it's awesome, and I'm probably going to keep listening to it even after the movie comes out. I also like that they gave more screen time to Nebula and Yondu compared to the first movie, and actually made them, better characters, and they actually kind of, are a big integral part to the movie, and they're actually kind of like Guardians, but not really. They obviously both have their own agendas and aren't really worried about the whole team aspect, but it works out in the end. I really like Nebula, but it's, she's always flip-flopping between good and bad, and that can be kind of frustrating. But I'm also kind of biased towards Nebula because Karen Gillan's one of my favorite actresses. I've tried to meet her multiple times over the last several years, and she always ends up canceling last minute, and it kind of disappoints me. But maybe one day. This can be considered a positive or a negative, really, depending on what your view on the character is. But I really wasn't a huge fan of Baby Groot and the emphasis he had on the movie. I mean, his demographic isn't really for me, but I felt like I should mention it anyway. I mean, I get it. He's supposed to be cute and adorable, and he sells toys, and, all that. But I felt like, for the most part, he was kind of a big distraction in the movie. Another gripe I kind of have with the movie is that there's large portions of the movie where the plot doesn't really advance that much. They really only go, probably a handful of places throughout the whole movie, and it's a 2-hour-long movie. So it kind of gets not boring, but would have liked to break up the monotony. It's almost standard in Marvel movies to talk about how bad the villain is and all that jazz, but I thought overall the villain in this movie was okay. Especially by usual Marvel villain standards, where they don't really have much backstory, except for, Loki. I mean, they were a decent villain. Hopefully the Marvel villains keep getting better, because I'm looking forward to Michael Keaton as the Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming, and Sigourney Weaver's the villain in the new Defenders Netflix show. So it looks like it's on the up and up, but it remains to be seen. This is probably as close as I'll get to actual spoilers for the movie, but the final action scene in the movie, at times, towards the end, gets a little bit too overboard. I just mean kind of ridiculous, over the top, kind of. It gave me Man of Steel vibes, at the end of that, when Superman was fighting Zod. It kind of got that kind of level of ridiculous. To sum up my thoughts, though, I'd give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 a B. This was actually not a disappointing sequel at all. Although I do think the first Guardians of the Galaxy was better, I still think this was a really good follow-up to that movie, and I'm looking forward to the third one. It's really redundant to say, since it's every Marvel movie, but make sure you stay for the credits, just like every single other movie. But they get a little overboard this time, and there's 5 after-credit scenes. But yeah, thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe, comment, talk about the movie. It comes out, in America at least, this Friday. I know it's out overseas already. But yeah, Till next time, we'll see you guys later.